Hello students and welcome to the lecture on Introduction to Biological Neuron. The second lecture in the lecture series for the course of Artificial Neural Networks for Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering students of the 7th semester Goa College of Engineering. I am Ms. Purti Savardekar, the faculty in charge for this course. Who are we? The brain makes us who we are. It is responsible for every emotion of ours, for every intellectual act of ours. The brain creates all our joys and all our miseries. How does the brain do all this? How does it think? How does our brain compute? Is it fundamentally different from the traditional ways of computing? Our brain may not be able to calculate the value of pi multiplied by log 2.4 divided by sine of 6.8, but there are certain extremely complicated tasks that the brain can very comfortably, sometimes even subconsciously do. Like, for example, recognizing a person just from the back of their head or from a very, very faded image, perceiving images in an optical illusion, communicating in one language, sometimes combination of two languages. That is why two questions become very important in artificial neural network research. Firstly, how does the human brain work? Secondly, how can we exploit the brain metaphor in order to design intelligent machines? In today's lecture, we will try to answer the first question. How does the human brain work? The basic information processing cells of the brain are called neurons. A human brain consists of a network of roughly 100 billion neurons. Each neuron has about 10,000 synapses on an average. So we have around 1,000 trillion synaptic connections in our brain. At present, there is no technology that can actually replicate the level of complexity that exists in a human brain. So let us try to understand the structure of a biological neuron. What you are seeing here right now is a diagram of the biological neuron, the kind that exists in our brain. Let us try to understand the various parts of this neuron and the functions of each part. Why? Because that is how we are hoping to build an artificial neuron, by getting inspired from it. Each neuron has a soma or a cell body which contains the cell's nucleus. The main parts using which the cell body communicates with other neurons are its links, a set of dendrites and a single axon. Dendrites start out from several different regions of the soma as a narrow extension and then form a very dense structure by repeatedly branching. The job of the dendrites is to receive the electrical signals from the axons of other neurons. Every neuron has one single axon extending out from the soma and may branch to form an axonal tree. The axons can terminate in local regions on the dendrites of other neurons or may travel larger distances to terminate on, say, muscles. The job of the axon is to carry the electrical signal to other neurons for further processing. Due to axonal branching, it may deliver the signals to large number of recipients, some close, some far away. Let us understand this in more detail. Due to difference in the ion concentration inside and outside the neuron cell, a potential develops across the cell membrane. This potential is known as the resting potential. The inside of the cell is usually about minus 65 millivolts with respect to the outside. This resting potential acts as the baseline potential. The electrical signals that are received from other neurons create tiny electrical disturbances in this resting potential of the cell. These incoming potentials from other neurons are known as graded potentials. So, when graded potentials decrease the cell's internal resting potential further, the neuron is said to be hyperpolarized. And when the graded potentials increase the cell's internal resting potential in the positive direction, the neuron is said to be hypopolarized or depolarized. The point in the soma from where the axon extends out is known as the axon hillock. At this highly sensitive area, the total soma potential is checked. If this total soma potential exceeds a threshold of around minus 40 millivolts, what occurs is a sudden ion exchange through the channels in the cell membrane that depolarize the cell further to reach, say, plus 40 millivolts potential. This does not last very long as the cell tries to return to the resting potential. Therefore, the generated potential is like a spike. This spike is known as the action potential. This action potential then travels along the axon length towards the axon terminals. Communication between the neurons takes place through specialized contact points between neurons called synapses. The electrical signal flows unidirectionally from the presynaptic neuron to the postsynaptic neuron. These two neurons are not physically connected. In fact, there is a gap between the two neurons that is known as the synaptic cleft. That means the transmission of the signal has to now occur across this synaptic cleft. This is where it gets interesting. To understand the process, we will have to understand the structure of the synapse. The presynaptic neurons' axon terminals have tiny bags called vesicles. These vesicles contain neurotransmitters. The postsynaptic neurons' dendrites contain neurotransmitter receptor sites where the neurotransmitters can attach themselves. As soon as the action potential hits the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron, the vesicles move towards the membrane of the axon terminal. As the vesicle hits the membrane wall, the two membranes fuse together, releasing the neurotransmitters into the synaptic cleft. The neurotransmitters then diffuse through the synaptic cleft to the receptors on the membrane of the postsynaptic neuron. The interaction of the neurotransmitters with the receptor sites causes an excitatory potential in the postsynaptic neuron. This forms the graded potential for the postsynaptic neuron. Since the transmission of the electric signal across the synaptic cleft happens with the help of chemicals, which are the neurotransmitters, this signal transmission is an electrochemical process. Trillions of such synaptic connections, some firing, some not firing, make up our brain, make our brain work, make us think and make decisions and make us the intelligent human beings that we are. This is where we take the inspiration from to build an artificial neural network, to make the computers intelligent. At this point, I'd like you to request to watch the video once again. Make notes. Note down the difficulties, if any. I will see you at the live session for further discussion. Thank you.